It is the Mosley Show. Welcome in. It is, big day. We got a lot going on. We got Baylor men and women opening their season today, coming off a big Baylor football win. I think a lot of you are happy on homecoming. Some of you have mixed feelings about it. We'll react. This will be a safe space today, and then we'll be getting you ready for the we've got major Cowboys tonight. Monday Night Football. Cowboys host the Arizona Cardinals, and this is major. They could get it back to 4-4-1, and then the next week they'll go to 4-5-1. The next week they'll go to 5-5-1. But you never know. I think the Raiders are coming up here pretty soon. Cowboys will have a bye week. All our teams have bye weeks. Cowboys play tonight, then have a bye. Baylor on a bye today. In fact, Dave Aranda taking the opportunity it's his bye as well. And they're working hard. He didn't do his usual news conference today. He doesn't do it when they head into the bye. But this would have been a fun one. This would have been a fun one to react to. In fact, Scotty, if you do come across on the Baylor YouTube page, I'm sorry, I'm just telling you this now, you can hear Dave and I sort of reacting to each other. Let's look at, take a peek at his press conference that he did with the assembled media after the game, and we may use a little bit of that because we hit on several different topics after the game, including, hey, what happened this week? What did you say? What was the difference? Why did the Bears line up and just absolutely dominate a UCF team? I mean, UCF's not good. We get that. But, hey, they've been in games. They beat a West Virginia team that turned around and had a big win Saturday. They played with a Cincinnati team that had been ranked, although Cincinnati ran it right into the ditch in Utah the other night, got run out of the building in a 45-14 loss. So tons of stuff to discuss today. But, Scotty, we as we open today, we like to react with the most breaking of news. Sir, let's hit the breaking news sounder on this one because we do have there it is. And these Baylor Bears came out today, had a 11 o'clock start. They're in Paris to open the season. This was the first men or women big game of the year. ESPN made a big to-do of it, which is great. They should have. And Duke, Carol Lawson, who was on ESPN for a while, the great player, she's now the head coach at Duke. And Duke was up, and they were up at halftime. The Bears had a kind of started to turn things around. Third quarter, they got it tied. And then the fourth quarter started to kind of pull away a little bit. Some anxious moments late. We got to talk to the players about, when you have a 6-point lead and there's like a minute left, there probably doesn't need to be a time when you're taking a shot with 15, 20 seconds left on the shot clock. But Bears get it done. Huge win for Nikki Collin and her staff as they go to Paris, France, open the season, and the Bears get a big win. And, man, it was one of those games that points were hard to come by, 58-52. And Baylor only had 2 players in double figures, but Talia Scott, who's been this is her third team in about 3 years. She's put up big numbers in the SEC, but she has found a home, let's hope, with the Bears. She's had injury issues. She's moved. She's had different things happen, but she's with the Bears now, and she scored 24 in this game, and really at the start of the fourth kind of took over. They could not guard her off the dribble. And, again, Bears had this was not a good shooting deal at all, game at all for either team. I mean, Duke shot like 28% in this game. Bears weren't that much better. I think they probably ended up shooting about 33% for the game and didn't get much help. They got 6 points off the bench. I will say in that decisive third quarter where the Bears got it going is Michaela Johnson, the freshman for the Bears, had a really nice off the dribble, went in, scored in the paint. I got to say, she did not look scared at all. Ting Dong, Scotty, who we talked to Coach about the other day, only had 2 points in this game. I was kind of excited to see what U-Team could bring to the table. Not much in this first game. I would say Kyla Abraham, who's been with the team now in her 4th year, 6 rebounds, 5 points, 4 blocks. That's what you do. That's what you do when you can bring a 6'4" player off the bench and really gave Duke some problems. Duke only had 1 player in double figures, and that was Fournier, who is pretty good player for them. 16 points, 10 rebounds, 4 blocks. They had 14 blocks against the Bears. In fact, Wood, who came off the bench for them, had 6 blocks. Goodness gracious. But the Bears found a way to win this game, and down goes the number 7 Blue Devils. A measure of revenge for the Duke Blue Devils, having beaten the Bears in the NCAA tournament, not only the men in this last year, but then going back to the famous game that happened in 2000. Scotty, you'll remember off the top of your head, 2010 or 11, one of those years. The Bears ran into Duke and the officials, and they lost that game in Houston that would have taken them to the Final Four. 2009 or 10. Anyway, the Bears take down the hated Blue Devils, and this was a great win. And again, wasn't a great shooting night. Fauntleroy, who's a great player, can be a great 3-point shooter. Only 4 points in this game. KJ, Kirsten Johnson, did have 8 rebounds and 2 blocks in this game. Didn't score much. It was Bugs with 10 points and 10 rebounds. And then Talia Scott comes into this one. We wondered what she would be like. I mean, she had games in the SEC where she scored like 35 points. She may have had a 40-point game at one point. I know for sure she had a 35-point game, and she's good. She can pull up. She can hit the outside shot. She wasn't great from a percentage standpoint. She was like, like 7 for 17 or something like that. But, man, when she was on and when she took it to the hole, they didn't really have anybody that could defend her. She was the best athlete on the court for the Bears and for Duke in this game, and she was the best player. 24 points is what she ends up with. Would have been more. Would have been 26. Missed a couple of free throws as they were trying to ice the game at the very end, or they would have won 60-52. But who cares? They win the game 58-52. Jenna Van Geitenbeek did not have one of her typically great games. Did have 4 assists and hit a big 3 when nobody was scoring for the Bears and things were getting a little bit scary in the 4th quarter. She did knock down a 3, and that was big. That was big, and then the Bears were able to go ahead and finish out this game. I don't know where the points are going to come from off the bench. I would just say the little I got to see, I was taping something else, but this Michaela Johnson, that came in from Tulsa. She is a true freshman for the Bears, and I like a tall guard. I like a 6-foot guard. They haven't had much of it around here. Again, we love Sarah's career. We loved Jada when she was here. Not that we didn't love all that, but to have a big guard is always fun, and that's what Michaela Johnson brings. And she's a 6-foot guard. And you know what? She went out there and had a big moment today and did some things that I liked in this game. So you had 4 players off the bench. Didn't get a lot of scoring off the bench, but you got enough to go win this game against Duke. And you just had some great defense. The Bears had quite a few blocks. And let's look here. 9 blocks on the day, including Abraham's 4 blocks. And as I said, 14 blocks for Duke. Duke ended up with 12 assists. Bears only had 10 assists, and this is big. Yes, Scotty, thank you for that text. I was needing. Yes, I realized that. I just needed to. I thought you still had my stuff. So anyway, Scotty and I we're gonna go live on Twitter here in a little bit. and we'll get that to you, and we're appreciative. Scotty, how about that? Let's welcome in Scotty Swingler. He's had a big day. You never know. I mean, he's Pete has to fly around the world, and I'm surprised Pete didn't show up in Paris given his travel.
Hey, Matt, you know what Pete's doing tonight?
What's that?
Filling in for the great John Morris on the Baylor Sports Radio Network.
Wow. John J-Mo. Well,
J-Mo slides over to ESPN Plus.
Oh, I got it. All right.
And so Pete steps into the radio play-by-play role.
I was planning on attending this season opener for the men, but now that I know Pete is going to be in this role, I don't know. I may listen to it on the radio, and
I think you're going to be occupied with something else going on tonight.
Oh, I got Cowboys. I got Cowboys and Cardinals. I apologize. I've been so thrown off. It was a wild weekend. I was watching a high school game. I was trying to get to a pigskin performance. Then we had our pregame, green and gold pregame. Wow, there was a lot going on. But Pete will do a nice job on that, and I will try to get that and listen to that like on the. I hope Rogue. Listen, that's over there at Playfly. Let's make sure Rogue is getting plenty. You can't just be letting old Pete just roll around and get about 7 different checks, although I'd like to do that. Scotty, I think we all would. About 6 different checks coming in, but I like that, though. Playfly, when they're in the pinch, they turn to Rogue Media Network. That's right, fellas. We're over here. And that'll be good. And maybe Pat Nunley will be on the doing the color, and then John will be with probably King McClure or somebody like that on the as the color analyst. As we have ESPN Plus, I have to say, Scotty, as you and I made our way around all the homecoming festivities, the bonfire, the pigskin. By the way, my nephew, and again, Blair Browning, my old college roommate, did a great job emceeing. I believe Kaio, his daughter, is in the Chi Omega. They were the #1 sing act. I think Tridelt was placed, and they were great. They did a great job. But man, for my money, the Keely, by the way, is Keely Browning. She does a great job for Kaio. I want to give her a shout out. Boone is the one who plays for the Midway boys team. But Scotty, John Andrew Logston, my nephew, had a solo, was in the quartet for the KOTs. And I don't know what they placed. I maybe second place. I don't know. But they were like Penguins night at the museum kind of deal. And then a quartet kind of blew down the house. And then they did the whole thing. And so anyway, I was very proud of him. And that was exciting. And then Scotty, lo and behold, the old Bears, a homecoming crowd. And again, it was interesting because we all have different perspectives. Scotty, it started raining, and of course some of the crowd went away. I don't know how big the crowd was. I will say when they did pregame and they were doing some stuff where like the Baylor line kids did a cheer, like a students cheer, the alums did a cheer. I got to say the students were loud. Let's give the Baylor line and the homecoming, because sometimes we're like, oh, the Baylor line didn't stick around. The Baylor line didn't try. Scotty, I got to tell you, the Baylor line showed up and showed out the other day. It didn't matter if it was raining. Most of them stayed in the stands. So that aspect, I think we were all waiting to look to see if, because of the team being in a bad spot and being 4-4, if the fans didn't show up. I did find it funny, Scotty, because like the fans were fine. Like I thought enough alums showed up. I don't know what the announced attendance was, but it was hard to tell because when it started raining, some of the fans went in. I thought the crowd, based on what we thought it was going to be, was fine. I thought students were good. But I do find it interesting because, like, Scotty, you and I, as Baylor alums who have seen a million of these things, right, we have our perspective. Like, again, I don't really get into, was it a good crowd, bad crowd? I don't really do a whole bunch of that. But I thought it was interesting. Parker Ream from the Fox affiliate, like after the game when he's asking questions, he was kind of like presenting it like, man, what about this incredible crowd that showed up? And I could even tell with the Baylor players, I think Sawyer was kind of like, yeah, it was they were good. We appreciate them, but I didn't. Everybody has different perspective, right? Like I thought the crowd was fine. It wasn't great. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, these fans all showed up anyway, even though the team's 4-4. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't like embarrassing. But again, I thought the sound, and Scotty, I don't know if you had what your duties were. I would say probably, hopefully you got to be there because I know you had buddies in town. But you and I had all kinds of pregame, and I didn't know where you were heading right after that. But so you could say wherever you were. But I thought from my perch in the press box, the students were good. The students were pretty loud. And Scotty, I mean, like, we have to give this team credit. We've been begging for it. I even asked, and they came out and just threw a couple of haymakers. Touchdown, 14-0, 17-0, 20-0. Like, just kind of like, whoa. And then even when things could have kind of gotten away, I didn't want them to let UCF back into it like late in the first half. The defense kept getting stops. They kept getting stops on fourth down. What has been the most maddening thing, Scotty? Third and fourth down, right? You can't ever get off the field. They did it over and over. It'd be 4th and 2. It'd be 4th and 5. It'd be like, I could not understand what UCF was doing, by the way. They got like 3rd and 1 against the Bears or 2nd one and like 4th and 1, and they're throwing the ball downfield. Like Baylor has been susceptible to the run the entire season. They can't stop the run. And Scott Frost and UCF's just out there, well, we got this kid Jackson back or whatever his name is from injury. Let's just let him fling it down the field. But whatever the case, all I can do is say thank you very much. Thank you for coming in and having a very questionable game plan. And for once, Scotty, like sometimes you're like prepared for, oh gosh, if they lose this game, we're going to have to ask about Aranda's future. And does he get fired? And how do we react? And so like I'm in that headspace going into that game, and then they go out there and just dominate them, just rip them. I wasn't even, by the end of the game, Scotty, even the UCF helmet, that pregame was scaring me a little bit. Even the UCF helmet, I was not bothered by it at all. I was like, that helmet's fine. That helmet does not scare me one bit. I thought the Bears went out. And Scotty, and I want you to react to this too. When you were a little kid, Scotty, and then, well, actually when I was a little kid before you were born, this was, we're talking about the 80s for a minute. Because I don't think Scotty saw the 80s. Yeah, Scotty did not get to participate in the 80s. Baylor they had the Sigma Chi bell, and I feel like that thing's maybe hung around. Sometimes it's hard to get the Sigma Chi's out of bed in time to get the bell there, but the Sigma Chi's always like there's a big bell that rings, and then this game, Scotty, they brought the dadgum whatever that is, a foghorn. They brought the horn back. They used to do that back in the 80s every time Baylor would score a touchdown or kick a field goal, and they did it the other day.
It wasn't just the 80s. It was through the 90s as well, because I have memories of the Sigma Chi bell with the horn on it. They did that. They did that through the 90s as well.
Okay, good. I mean, well, by the time the end of the 90s, they weren't scoring enough touchdown to even hear it.
That's true. That's why it was such a cool event when they did.
They did tear down the goalpost when we beat University of Texas in 1997. Now, you had joined us by then. You would have been you little guy.
I'm too young to remember that. I have, will not surprise you, vivid memories as if it were yesterday.
A&M, the A&M.
Tearing down the goalpost in 2004. Yes, sir. Sean Bell.
Yes. Sean, and it was like Baylor had Ziegler, and then they had Who was the other receiver? I think Ziegler's
Shelton was on that team.
Shelton was great. I love Shelton. I love his dad too. Yeah.
But Ziegler scored that touchdown and the 2-point conversion to win it.
Okay.
They were both throws to Ziegler.
Okay. Yeah, because I thought Shelton, he was big though. Shelton was big on that team. He was involved. And I got to say, Scotty, it was really cool to be in the press box. And more people were coming up to me like, hey, I'm liking the new show. I'm liking the new gig. And my man Reggie, shout out to Reggie, former Baylor player. He played with the late, great J.J. Joe. He played with Melvin Bonner. Reggie works for Baylor. He came up to me and he was like, hey, I'm liking the new show. So more and more people finding out. Scotty, we're going to start playing this show like live on Twitter every day. And the only thing that has prevented us from doing that, Scotty, is me like securing a credit card to pay for it. We'll do it though. We're going to do it. We're just going to do it. Okay. We're going to splurge. So then we're going to be like, it's going to be nice because like every day we'll make it even easier for our people. If you're on Twitter, you're going to see the show ready to go live. What I've been doing is putting it on my own Twitter before the show, like blah, blah, blah. And of course we're putting all the shorts out. We've got Cam involved with the show, which Scotty is I'm letting you, Scotty, at some point we got to let you get your breath back under you, your feet back under you with all this pregame and stuff. And then I want you to dig back in because you are the man. And in addition to Souza doing great and having great guests, we want to give him credit too. But Scotty, you played an enormous role in that. So once you catch your breath again, we're gonna get you back on some of that because we've now gotten Cam involved in the show, and Cam's timeliness is about like mine. I mean, Cam, hey, do you have anything for me today? Oh yeah, I meant to send that to you 7 hours ago. All right, but I love Cam. But I will say having Cam, the only way, Scotty, we can truly get Cam on point is if we throw him on the show. Okay, Cam needs to see his on face on the show before he really applies himself. So we may have to do that. At about 2 o'clock today, or maybe a little after, right around 2, Scotty, we'll try. Ashley Hodge is getting in position to cover tonight's Baylor game. We'll also get his take on what it meant the other day to beat UCF. We may have to do it over the phone because I don't want him trying to do email or video while he's driving. I'll get an update on that, Scotty, for us. But, man, it's fun. Okay, so Scotty gave us the interesting update, and thank you, Cherry Johnson, Siegmund James. Scott James's son, Jonah, had a solo for KOT also. It's really sad. All these great sons of Fiji's, all their sons are going KOT. Phi Gams will be back. They'll be back, and I think the young Phi Gams on campus right now are doing a nice job, but we've lost some of our sons to KOT in recent years, and that's okay. KOT, they're solid. They have been solid for a long, long period of time. But, Jonah James, that's Scott and Leanne James's kid, came out there and did a big-time job. And then also ATOs, oh, my gosh, we had Zach and we had Sam. Those are two cousins. Sam is Chase and Sarah's kid. That would be Palmer. Okay, the Palmers. And then on the Smith side of things, Zach is so anyway, not to get to Rebecca and Brandon's kid is Zach Smith. All right, I got all that straight. They did a great job the other night for ATO. And anyway, so all these people are old friends of mine and old friends of my family. But that was fun the other day, too. In fact, Scotty, after Faith and I did the thing, Faith went to homecoming with her parents and her grandfather. And her grandfather used to be fraternity brothers with my dad. And so in the Letterman's Lounge or whatever we call that now, Letter Winners Lounge, Faith and her grandfather got to come over and hang out with my dad a little bit, which was cool. I think her grandfather was a little tough on my dad, and that probably didn't go over real well because my dad was a football player, and he probably did not. If I know my dad, he made it through pledgeship, but the thought of actually making my dad do something, and at the time, my dad was 6'3", 235 pounds. And that was big for a defensive lineman back then. Like, you did not want to be like a shorter person asking my father to do anything in a fraternity setting. That would not have gone well, I don't think. But they were they seemed to have a nice time seeing each other and all of that. So Larry is her grandfather's name. And then her parents, or her dad, played golf at Baylor. So anyway, lots of good connections there on homecoming. Scotty, did you have a successful homecoming? You were meeting up with your friends. You did a really cool thing on Halloween, trunk or treat type thing with your little ladybug daughter. And I know that was a lot of fun. Saturday, what was your experience after we broke down the set at our pregame? Did you run over to the game? Did you watch it remotely with your buddies? How did you handle that?
I experienced the game via radio, Matt.
All right. Just
old YouTube.
You've seen enough of the Bears.
Old YouTube TV was giving me a hard time, and I had the little ladybug during game time, so
all right.
Thought about taking her in, but the rain and some other things, we did radio, which was great. I love JMO. And then very successful homecoming with the friends. We did Shorty's on one night and George's on the other. So we got the full Waco cuisine experience for homecoming.
I had George's catering the other day at that Art Briles luncheon, and that smothered steak, Scotty, and you strike me as someone that, I don't know if smothered steak does it for you. I think you're more like, you love a good chicken tender. You like seafood. I mean, you have good culinary taste, but I don't know if smothered steak's what you're after in life. But I'm telling you, the brown gravy and the tender nature of that smothered steak. I saw Sammy and Calcitrano, and I told him, I'm like, guys, I hadn't had anything that good since the old cafeteria days. So anyway, you probably had a cheeseburger at George's, if I had to guess.
I did have a cheeseburger at George's, but I'm also, it's hard to go to George's and not get the chicken fried, man. It's usually the chicken fried, but I'm not above a good smothered steak.
Back in the old day, when you ordered the chicken fried steak at George's, this was before Sammy and them took it over. I'm old enough to remember the pre-Citrano days of George's, and they came in, cleaned some things up, and brought us up to code, I think. But the old George's, you got two. You order chicken fried steak and you got two chicken fried steaks.
Right.
I think now, because it's a little, obviously it's a higher quality of food that the Citranos are doing. It's it's a huge chicken fried steak, but it's just one chicken fried steak. Is that correct?
That's correct. Well, but I will comment on this too. Bobby B knows what's up. That's my order right there, Bobby B. Chicken fried steak and fried okra.
I know they got okra over there.
Oh yeah, all day long, Bobby B. You nailed it.
You get some chicken. Can you get some of those? What are they called? Crazy chicken or whatever?
Crazy wings.
Oh, I like that.
I had some crazy wings Saturday night. I did.
Jalapeno and like a bacon.
Yes, sir.
Wrap
crazy wings. It's good stuff.
Yeah,
it's good stuff. What I was going to say though, my friends were commenting, and I guess I just don't think about this because I live here. I got to give props to George's for this. It is still wildly good value. That chicken fried steak meal with two sides, you can get the premium one that's the bigger chicken fried steak. You can get the regular chicken fried steak and two sides, and I believe it is $12.99. And I don't know, man, in today's world with beef prices the way they are and
that's
quality food just gets more and more expensive. $12.99 for a big chicken fried steak and two sides, and it's a pretty good deal. And they've still got multiple plates for about $10 if you want to, keep it lighter. Like they have nailed the value part.
That's great. That's great. I mean, my gosh, Sammy and them, Sammy, I'm going to send an invoice over to you. We just spent about 5 minutes on George's, so invoice will be arriving soon. Now we need to take care of, speaking of restaurants. And by the way, Sammy goes to the other restaurants in town. Guess where I've seen Sammy? Because they all support each other. You think, oh, they're all competitors. Actually, a lot of them are friends. Have I seen Sammy Citrano at Brazos Landing? You bet I have. You bet I have. Do Claude and Becky Lindsay go over there? You bet they do. Over to Jorge's and all that good stuff. But the Brazos Landing, boy, we love the Landing and always look for any opportunity to get over there. In fact, a lot of homecoming parties and get-togethers happen right over there at the Brazos Landing. Thank you, Central National Bank. Thank you, CNB. Hello, Fonville. Fonville's always checking out. Has Mosley mentioned me yet? Has Mosley? No, he doesn't think like that. He might, though. Has Mosley mentioned the bank? Has Mosley? Hey, big day for CNB because they do the commercials. They're the presenting sponsor for the Mosley Show, but also for Baylor women's basketball. And those Bears went out and beat the number 7 team in the country today. All right, so Craig and Peggy and Joe and all the great actors from CNB that are part of those wonderful commercials. And boy, CNB, it's unbelievable stuff. Even that luncheon the other day. I mean, the Hall of Fame, the Texas Sports Hall of Fame luncheon. CNB right up there, one of the presenting sponsors. We don't mind sharing them. We don't mind sharing them because they've really become what would I call them? Let me give them a new slogan. Your bank forever. Okay, see what I did there? I switched it. There's another bank that does something else, but I just switched it up a little bit. All right, we do need to take care of our partners, and then we probably will check in with Ashley Hodge. Maybe we'll see. We'll see what Ashley's up to as we get ready to open the men's season of basketball. All that coming up next.